Hello, I'm Ramiro. Thank you for clicking on my channel. Today, I want to talk about something that I get questions on occasion, and that is, what's the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA? Well, let's talk about it. All right, so when it comes to traditional and Roth IRAs, they're both considered qualified plans. So that all that means is that they have inherent tax advantages to them. But remember one thing, whenever the IRS gives us some kind of tax advantage, they always attach rules and regulations and strings to it. And so that does apply to both of these. So for instance, it applies to the amount of money you can contribute to them. It applies to how you can take money out and the taxes that go along with that. And it also has to do with if you make a certain amount of money, you might be phased out. So all of those rules apply to both of these, okay? But there are some slight differences between the two, and I want to cover that. Now, one thing that is similar between both of these IRAs is the amount of money that you can contribute to them. So for 2024, the maximum amount that you can contribute is $7,000 a year. Now, if you're age 50 or over, that amount goes up to 8,000. So what I want to cover first is the traditional IRA. So let's talk about that. So the way a traditional IRA works is any money you contribute to it, you get to defer the income tax on that amount that you deposited. So let's talk about an example. Say somebody is in the 22% tax bracket and they contribute $5,000 to it. Well, that means they're going to be able to defer about $1,100 of income tax for that year. All right. Now, mind you, I say the word defer because a lot of times maybe a better word might be to postpone. So they're not avoiding the tax, they're just postponing it to a later time. And that later time is when they retire and they pull the money out. So when they pull the money out, it's fully taxable at that point in time, at whatever tax bracket they're in. Now, another advantage to the traditional IRA, besides getting to defer the tax, is that it does grow tax deferred over time. So if you've invested it correctly, hopefully it's going to increase in value over time. So as it does, you're not being taxed on that growth. But like I said, when you do retire and you start taking the money out, whatever dollars you pull out are going to be fully taxed at whatever tax bracket you're in. All right. It also has some rules that you can't access that money prior to age 59 and a half, because if you do, you're going to pay a 10% penalty, plus you have to count it as income that year. So you want to try to avoid that. Now let's talk about the Roth IRA. With the Roth IRA, you're putting after-tax dollars into it. So that means, in the same example, somebody in the 22% tax bracket depositing $5,000, they're going to go and have to pay that $1,100 of income tax for that year. They don't get to defer or postpone that tax. They're going to pay for it. And just like the traditional, the Roth IRA, it grows tax deferred. You're not paying taxes as it grows in value. But here's a big difference. When you start taking money out of the Roth IRA, 100% of those dollars that come out are tax-free. You never have to pay income tax on it. So that's why a lot of times, a lot of people gravitate towards the Roth because it seems to have much better tax advantages when you pull the money out. Here's another rule. When we go back to the traditional IRA, when you hit that magic age of 72, you have to start taking the money out. The IRS says you have to start pulling money out of that IRA, that traditional IRA, whether you need it or not. So they force you. And they have this certain calculation that tells you what the minimum amount is that you have to pull out. And if you don't, you're penalized pretty heavily. With the Roth IRA, those rules don't apply. You can just leave it in there. So once again, a little bit more flexibility in there. Also with the Roth, there's some more flexibility as far as if you need to pull that money out prior to age 59 and a half, you don't get penalized quite as badly, right? There's a lot more flexibility there. So that kind of summarizes the differences between those two. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then please push like on it, and also please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.